Hey everybody, I'm out here in the woods getting ready to put up a new deer stand. So if you are new to hunting or considering hunting and you just don't know where to get started, here's your introduction. Alright, so luckily for me, I have a friend who I've been doing some work for recently, and they have given me the opportunity to set up a deer stand on within their property. They have 3 acres that actually butts up to like another 100 acres or something like that for now until it gets developed. But as of right now, I have the opportunity to put up a new deer stand. They say that they see deer in their yards early in the mornings all the time, so they're definitely out here. Now, what I've done is I brought my deer stand in the box, and right now I'm just in the woods looking for a suitable tree. And when you look around, this area is certainly full of trees, lots and lots of trees. So how do you decide which tree is a good candidate for your deer stand? Well, number one, you want to stay away from trees like pine trees. The reason being is their bark, these trees are softwoods, and their bark kind of sheds off pretty easily. So when you're ratcheting your stand down, you want it to be able to really bite into the tree itself, not into the bark, because the bark is just going to strip away. So you want to stay away from pine trees. Also, you want to stay away from trees that have a small diameter. You're looking for something that's about 12 inches cross section, and this one is maybe 7 inches. So we're going to look for something even larger. We got something here that's like about 10 inches, but even that one's not big enough. So I'm just going to go around through these woods and try to find a good hardwood tree that's at least 12 inches across, at which I can start to put a stand in. Let's take a look. All right, so I've gone all around the woods and it's really hard finding a hardwood tree out here, but I did find a nice cluster of trees in one spot that one or two have a pretty good opportunity for being used as a tree stand, and I'll show you what that looks like and why. All right, so here's the cluster of trees that I'm referring to. These are nice, mature hardwoods. If you look at the tree, it doesn't have flaky bark on it, and I'm gonna guess that these are oaks. I'm not, very good at botany or whatever treeology is, but I think that these are oak trees, which are good because they're not really gonna flex in the wind. They've got sturdy roots, and they're wide enough for the stand to get a good grip on. So I'm considering either this one or this one. And the reason why I'm choosing one of these two is because they have very clear defined trails that you have deer that are already using. If you see here and if you see here, you can tell that these are deer trails because it's pretty cleared out for a deer-sized body to move through, and it looks like probably moving around to go find food, water, shelter, or mating. So this path makes this tree on the left the best candidate. Also, we have a trail coming here. We have a trail coming this way, and it pretty much crosses right on through to the trail that I was just pointing out, where you've got them coming this way and that way. So we have a very defined trail here that you can see the cutout there, as well as there, in addition there, and down into the woods. And the land actually slopes downward, which is great because you want to be at the top of a slope. That way you have the highest position that you can in order to keep yourself out of the line of sight of the deer. Now the stand that I'm going to be putting up is 15 feet tall. So that's going to put me 15 feet up in probably this tree here. Now again, I have this tree that has the 2 trails there, and I've got this tree that's got the 3 trails in that direction. So I can either use this tree and have it pointing this way or straight out, which will allow me to get a good view of the deer coming from this direction or from that direction. But I would think that if I try to do that with the one on the left, these 3 trees are going to get in the way of my ability to see to the left. Since this one sits up closest to the front, I believe that this will be the one that I choose. Now the problem that I have here is we got some vines up here that I'm going to have to clip. And I also have this sapling that will need to be cut as well, because this is going to obstruct my view and probably obstruct my ability to put the stand up in the tree. I haven't decided to remove it yet because it will, by leaving it, it's actually going to leave some pretty effective camouflage by having it up there. It's going to kind of hide the fact that the stand is up there anyways, because I've got some leaves up here that's going to help continue to conceal me. So let's go ahead and get started. All right, if you're wondering what stand should I buy when I'm at the store, I would suggest that you get the cheapest 2-man ladder stand that you can find at any big box store at the end of your deer season. Here in Columbia, South Carolina, our deer season ends at the beginning of January. So late December through early February is really the best time to find deals. Walmart's and Academy, Sportsman's Warehouse, they're all putting these things out on clearance for as low as $50. So what I have here is a big game 2-man ladder stand. Key features: 15 feet tall. The platform is 36 inches wide. That's supposed to be for 2 people. That's going to be for 2 New York City, Manhattan vegetarians. That's not going to be for 2 South Carolinian good old boys who eat cornbread. So get yourself a good 2-man ladder stand that should fit 1 and maybe a child. All right. So do I suggest this brand? I don't really care what brand it is. The reason being is because they're all virtually the same design. All that you're looking for is something that is sturdy, something that is cheap, safe, and money. That's what you're looking for. All right, so I got the box open here. So let's discuss what we have on the inside of the box. First off, you have all of the pieces of the ladder stand. You have the actual ladder rungs, you have the platform, and you have the arm. You've got the hardware to put it all together, which is probably going to be like 12 millimeter or 14 millimeter bolts, and so you're going to need a socket and maybe a wrench or maybe a couple of wrenches, some straps for strapping it to the tree, also for putting up your harness. It's got a couple of safety harnesses there in the bag, which you should always use whenever you're in a stand, keep you from falling out just in case something happens that's unexpected. And of course we have some trusty instructions, but we men here, so don't need those. All right, let's go get the tools and start putting this thing together. I'm not sure if I really want to record the whole putting it together thing, because that's just going to take forever. I'm just going to put it together and then come back to the video when it's time to start hoisting it up into the tree, which is really the hard part. All right, here we are. 10 seconds later, and I have the entire thing all put together. Now, let me just say that I did change my mind about which tree I was going to use. Originally, I said I was going to use the one on the right. I've decided to change that to the left. That way I can face the stand out this way. The reason being is facing it to the right, or using the tree on the right, would have had me sitting in a direction where I'm actually facing my friend's house. And that's a no-no. You do not want to point your firearm at anything you do not intend to destroy. So I don't want to be facing a direction in which I may wind up shooting at the house. So I am going to put it on this tree. I'm going to face it directly into the woods here. And that way I've got pretty much a 45-degree angle of the trails that I talked about before, all the way down into the woods here. So so pretty much a 45 to a 180, and I think that that's a little bit more safe, a lot of bit more safe, and more ideal of a situation. So I want to give some pointers about when you are putting together your stand. When you are doing the bolts for your swing arm, the arm that protects you, make sure that you do your bolts going outward. The reason being is when you're up in the stand, your arm will rub against, or your back may rub against these, and you would much rather it be these flat, the flat heads of the bolts, than the more pointy ends with the nuts on it. So you definitely want to go outward with the bolts. Same on both sides. Make sure that you're facing those pointing outward. Number two, because I am going to lift this stand all by myself, I'm just gonna kind of he-man it. You want to start with the stand about 5 feet away from the base of the tree that you intend to plant it in. You want to get everything out of the way. As you can see, I've got this little tree sapling, this little dead sapling right here that I'm gonna have to kick that on down. Get everything out of your way, and I'm going to dig a little trench there so that the legs, the bottom of the legs there, have something to dig into the ground in. Because you're going to, when you're lifting up something that's this top heavy by yourself, you're basically going to start at this end, point it into the ground as, you know, as hard as you can, and then walk it up, slowly walk it up, up until you have it up into the tree. Make sense? All right, after getting it up there, you're basically going to stomp this end as far into the ground as you can. You want to get a very sturdy base before you make any attempt to go up the tree, which I probably will not. I'll probably go get another ladder, see if my friend has a ladder, and lean it up against the tree and ratchet it in that way. That way I'll have it attached at the ground, have it attached at the tree, and then that will make it safer for me to climb up and finish ratcheting things down. All right, so here I am, 5 seconds later. That took very little effort to get that stand up there. Okay, so now that I have it up in the tree, now remember I told you to start with about 5 feet of clearance from the base of the tree to the base of the ladder. And as you can see, this is the trench that I kind of cleared out here to get my ladder feet down in there. But now that I have it there, I can't keep it there because as you can see, the ladder slants way far out from the tree, and your stand should be, your sitting position, or I should say the seat should be at a 90-degree angle with the ground. So, or I should say it should be perfectly parallel with the ground, and the ladder rungs should be virtually 90 degrees. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna kick the stand in probably another 2 feet and just kind of walk the stand up a little bit higher. That way I can get it a little bit more parallel. And then when I'm up there with the straps, I can get a better idea of how flat it is, at which point I can go ahead and get it perfect. After the ladder rungs are perfectly situated, then I'll go ahead and strap it all the way down. As of right now, this is not strapped. It's just leaned up against the tree. Okay, so using the ladder, I was able to go ahead and put the straps on it. And so I am pretty much up in the tree at this point. Stand-wise is all the way up in the tree. The base is pretty thoroughly tamped down into the ground. I have very, very minimal movement here when I shake it. And I'm gonna go up to the top just to give you some pointers on things that you need to do when you're actually up there, as in to tighten in the straps. So give me a second. All right, so up at the top of the tree in the stand, and you can see that this is the sitting platform. That's where the feet go. And towards the back here, we have your ratchet strap. This still has the danger tag on it, which I'm not really worried about. Just tuck that out of the way. And one thing that you have to be sure about is as you're tightening this, you want to wiggle your stand while you're tightening it down. That way you can get these teeth to dig deep into the tree. I've already got it as tight as it's pretty much gonna go. But what I'll do is come back in a couple of days. That gives the tree time to move around with the wind and kind of loosen up a little bit. That way I'll come back and give it a couple more ratchets, a couple more notches. You see how you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 notches there. So I'm just going to try to get a couple more notches. That way it makes sure that this doesn't move anymore. But as it is right now, it's pretty stable. And that's me rocking it as hard as I can. So the next thing to do is to put the seat pad, which is down there. I'm going to go ahead and put that on here. I'm going to put the pad for this bar, the back bar, and then the one for the arm as well. So after I do that, then I'll give you a view of what it looks like from up here at the top of the tree. Okay, so I've got all the padding on. I've got the front bar, which is going to be the rifle rest. Got that pad on. I've got the seat on, and I've got this rear pad as well. So all of that on. Now I can give you a tour of how it looks from up here. So as you can see, it's actually pretty far down from 15 feet up. Really far down. So Lord knows I would hate to fall, which is why we're going to put the harness straps that came with the stand. I'm going to put those on, but just to show you how much wiggle I've got, I'm wiggling pretty hard here, and it's not moving at all. No movement. And the view that this stand gives me is really nice. So you can see a path that kind of snakes up through here. Then you got a path that starts there and kind of snakes in through here. And I don't know if I can zoom in on it, but just past that clearing there, there's a path right there. Now, because my friend's land actually ends past this clearing, I'm going to see if he's okay with me knocking down some of these trees. So if I can do that, if I can knock down some of those trees there or in here, then I can make shooting lanes so that I can actually see the deer clearly, like right there. I'm thinking maybe right there as well, and then leave the rest of it wooded so that it conceals me better. But then as for the trails, so we're going to start with this trail. You can see that trail, and it comes through here, snakes in, it turns right there, turns up there. Then we got this trail that actually passes me on the left and turned all the way to the left. That's his carport right there, and the other clearing, which I would think that deer probably pass along right there also. The woods are really thick that direction, and other than this little clearing that he has over here for gardening and stuff like that, it's all surrounded, and then on the other side is where his line ends, and it all just kind of butts up into other wood line. So I've got, I guess his garden isn't really a food plot, but I'm going to assume that that's what draws some of the deer in. And then I've got a lot of woods in front of me, and if he's okay with me clearing out some of this, I'll probably clear out some shooting lanes straight ahead. It's all mostly just twigs anyway, so I could probably just kick those down, but I want to get his permission first since he's the landowner. And that's pretty much it. I think I can probably catch deer as they come in through here. I'll probably use a bow since all of it's so close. It's all pretty much within 25 yards. This would be the main area that you can see it, how it's all pushed down and tamped down and walked through. That's definitely a main corridor for deer movement. So I should be able to hit a deer with a bow, either as they go through this way or through that way. So that way, worst case scenario, if I clear it all out going forward, I'd use a rifle, and I don't have to worry about hitting anything that direction because it's all woods. I don't have to worry about hitting anything to the left 45 degrees, and I don't have to worry about anything to the right 45 degrees, or even 180 degrees all the way to the right here. If I even go back a little bit, you kind of go down into a ravine, and if you look, you can kind of see a trail right there where they're obviously using that to walk through as well. So I've got options. I will say turning this way is quite awkward, so I'm not going to rely on being able to do that too much. But stand is up. It's up nice and high. It's up tight. And the next video that I will do will definitely be about fortifying this stand a little bit. Some improvements, including more cushion under the seat, putting up a tarp around here to camouflage any of my movements, any leg movements, and just other general improvements that I do on the deer stand. So until next time, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you next time.